Welcome back to My Latin Life. Today we're hitting the road to explore a game changer for anyone driving into Mexico's northwest, the free transit zone in Baja California and Sonora. If you're planning a road trip to Tijuana, dreaming of surfing in Rosarito, or cruising to Puerto Peñasco, you might be asking, what's the free transit zone? Do I need a vehicle permit? How does it make driving easier? So we're diving deep into the answers, unpacking the rules, benefits, and some lesser known tips you won't find in most Mexico travel guides. From hassle-free border crossings to navigating Mexico's vibrant roads, this video is your roadmap to driving in Mexico with confidence. So let's start with the basics. What is the free transit zone? Also called the hassle-free zone or the border zone, it's a designated area in Mexico where foreign-plated vehicles registered in the US, Canada, or elsewhere can be driven without a temporary import permit, the TIP, which is typically required for vehicles entering Mexico's interior. Established to boost tourism and trade, the zone covers the entire Baja California Peninsula and a large portion of Sonora, specifically the northwest region west of Mexican Federal Highway 15 and north of Empalme. This zone roughly spans 12 to 16 miles, so 20 to 26 kilometers along Mexico's northern border with the US, plus the whole Baja Peninsula and about half of Sonora, including popular destinations like Tijuana, Rosarito, Puerto Peñasco that we talked about, San Carlos as well. And in 2024, over 1 million foreign vehicles crossed into the free transit zone, drawn by its relaxed rules and vibrant attractions. So some common questions include, what are the benefits? Do I still need paperwork? Can I drive anywhere? So let's keep diving deep into why this zone is a dream for people who want to drive in Mexico. So why drive in the free transit zone? Here are the key benefits for tourists, expats, and cross-border travelers. First, no tip required. Outside the free transit zone, a tip costs around $50 plus a $200 to $400 refundable deposit, and you must export the vehicle within 180 days or risk fines. In the free transit zone, you skip this entirely, saving money, paperwork, and headaches. The second benefit is hassle-free travel. You can travel freely in Baja California Sur, and Northwest Sonora without customs checks for your vehicle, making spontaneous trips to Ensenada or Puerto Peñasco a breeze. The third benefit is multi-entry flexibility. Within the zone, you can cross the US-Mexico border multiple times without reapplying for permits, ideal for commuters or snowbirds. And here's a lesser-known perk, the economic boost. The free transit zone encourages tourism, supporting local businesses in places like Rosarito or San Felipe, where foreign visitors spent $2 billion in 2024. This makes you a valued guest, enhancing your welcome in these communities. So now let's talk about who can enter the free transit zone and what is required. So the zone is open to non-Mexican tourists with a valid Forma Migratoria Múltiple, the FMM tourist visa, available online or at border crossings for stays up to 180 days. This is also open to Mexican citizens living abroad and returning temporarily, as well as foreign residents with temporary or permanent residency, though permanent residents face restrictions on foreign-plated vehicles outside free zones. Requirements include valid vehicle registration. Your car, truck, SUV, or motorcycle must be registered in your name or a family member's with proof, like a title. You need Mexican auto insurance, which is mandatory, can be cheap, $100 to $300 a year, covering liability, as US Canadian policies are not valid. I have another video all about Mexican auto insurance that you can check out on this channel. Subscribe to our channel, by the way. Also, the FFM tourist visa will be required for stays over 7 days or travel beyond 20 kilometers from the border. Free for up to 7 days. $22 USD for longer. US Canadian citizens need only proof of citizenship for stays under 72 hours in Baja's immediate border zone. And then another concept here is vehicle compliance. So no salvaged or stolen vehicles, obviously. Sometimes they verify your VIN at customs. There are certain vehicles that from Mexico are not available in the US and vice versa. So just some things to be aware of if you have a very unique vehicle. And another thing to be aware of is recreational vehicles. So if towing motorcycles, ATVs, or boats up to 4.5 meters, you might need a tip for these at customs, even in the free transit zone. Now let's talk about scope and limitations of the free transit zone. Where does the free transit zone cover exactly, and what are its limits? So I'll have a bunch of maps here on the screen, but basically Baja California and California Sur, the entire peninsula, both states, from Tijuana to Cabo San Lucas, including cities like Ensenada, Rosarito, and La Paz. Then there's the Sonora Free Zone, which is northwest Sonora, west of Mexican Federal Highway 15 and north of Empalme, covering Puerto Peñasco, San Carlos, Hermosillo, Nogales, and Guaymas. The zone extends 20 to 26 kilometers from the U.S. border and up to 98 kilometers from Highway 15 in some areas. The limitations are beyond the zone. Driving outside the free transit zone requires a tip, obtainable at the border Banjercito offices or the La Paz ferry terminal as well. Fines for non-compliance can reach 150 USD, around 3,000 pesos, and potentially even vehicle impoundment. I've heard horror stories of people's vehicles getting impounded. So seriously, this is one of those things that Mexico, they're relaxed about it to a certain point, but if you go beyond that zone, they really might impound your vehicle if you don't have the proper documentation. So seriously, you're doing the best first step, which is watching this video, and please be sure to follow these rules, because I have heard horror stories. And FFM is also mandatory beyond 20 kilometers from the border or stays over 7 days. Just a reminder there. And then if you are towing things, if you have boats or wrecked vehicles, those will need a tip at customs as well. A lesser known detail is the Sonora only permit. For driving east of Highway 15 or south of Empalme within Sonora, there's something called the Sonora only tip, costs around $50, and it allows 180 days of travel. Now let's talk about cultural nuances and driving in the free transit zone. Some tips for you here. So Mexico's driving culture is vibrant but distinct. So there are this idea of topes, which are speed bumps. And in Mexico, speed bumps are very different than in the US. In Mexico, there's different types of speed bumps. There might be 10, 15 different types of speed bumps. Where in the US, you might only see one or two types. In Mexico, they're more creative with the speed bumps, and they can do some serious damage. So be aware of the speed bumps, the topes. Also, yield to pedestrians. Be careful navigating chaotic intersections. The free transit zone, especially in Baja, is very tourist friendly. There's even English signs in places like Rosarito. But of course, Spanish dominates in Sonora's small towns. So brush up on your Spanish. And if you want to learn Spanish, there's a link in the description for some companies we recommend that will teach you Spanish. At border crossings, expect Mexico's trámite mindset. Patience is key. Customs agents at Tijuana or Nogales may scrutinize documents, or they may wave you through, reflecting inconsistent enforcement. Some basic Spanish. Tengo mi FMM. and a friendly demeanor will help. And here's a lesser known nuance is checkpoint etiquette. So military or federal police checkpoints, which are common in Sonora, may request your FFM, your insurance, your registration, so keep these in a glove box folder to avoid delays. Culturally, the free transit zone thrives on tourism. So locals in Ensenada or Puerto Peñasco welcome foreign drivers, but respecting speed limits and local norms. Let's address challenges, misconceptions, and practical tips for the free transit zone. So some challenges include inconsistent enforcement, like we mentioned. Some borders, like Tecate, have very lax checks, while Nogales may demand FMMs even for short stays. And this changes all the time. Also, FFM oversight. So for getting an FFM for stays over 7 days or beyond 20 kilometers can lead to fines or immigration issues. So be sure to be on top of it. Again, towed vehicle rules, recreational vehicle rules, larger vehicles like camper vans, they might have special circumstances and may require a tip even in the zone. Touching upon safety concerns, Baja California and Sonora have travel advisories for crime, notably in the Mexicali Valley, per the U.S. State Department. The big tip is stick to driving during the day, daylight travel on highways 1, 2, or 15D, and you should be good. There are many misconceptions. Many think the free transit zone waives all paperwork, but an FFM is still required for long stays and insurance is mandatory. There's another myth that you can drive anywhere in Sonora without a tip. The Sonora-only permit is needed south of Empalme. Some practical tips is you can get the FFM online. You can apply at inem.gov.mx for stays over 7 days, saving time at the border. You can also buy Mexican insurance. You can purchase online from providers like Sanborns or MexPro before crossing. And carry your documents, keep your FFM, insurance, registration, and a passport in a glove box folder for the checkpoints. Stick to free zones. Plan your routes within Baja and Northwest Sonora to avoid tips and using maps from AA Roads or Phoenix Mapping Service. You should know the different border crossings and you can try to use less crowded crossings like the Otay Mesa or Tecate instead of Tijuana, Tijuana is one of the most trafficked borders in the world, no pun intended. So if you use lesser known borders, you might get through faster, especially on peak days and at times like Semana Santa. Here's a lesser known strategy. Use the CBX terminal. If flying into Tijuana via the Cross-Border Express from San Diego, get your FFM at the terminal to streamline entry. In conclusion, the free transit zone in Baja California and Sonora is your ticket to hassle-free driving in Mexico's Northwest, letting you cruise foreign-plated cars through Tijuana, Rosarito, or Puerto Peñasco without a temporary import permit. With no tip costs, multi-entry flexibility, and access to tourist gems, it's a driver's paradise, if you know the rules. From securing an FFM and Mexican insurance to navigating checkpoints and tapping into expat networks, you're now equipped to hit the road with confidence. If you still have questions, you can book a call with My Latin Life. There's a link in the description. We can help you get Mexican insurance. We can help you get residency and citizenship in Mexico, spin up Mexican companies, get a Mexican driver's license, anything you might need in terms of relocation in Mexico. Whether you're surfing in Ensenada, exploring Sonora's beaches, or chasing Baja's sunsets, I hope this video answered your questions and ignited your Mexican road trip dreams. If you have additional questions, drop them in the comments below, or again, you can book a call. There's a link in the description to speak to us directly. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more expat and travel insights. See you in the next video.